How you doing, fellow kids? Welcome to another Deep in the Shallow podcast in your timeline. The d.i.t.s. If you are not into d.i.t.s world, please subscribe at the YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and on Spotify. If you like d.i.t.s, please share with your friends. And that's it. I am Mauricio. I am your favorite Brazilian poor host. And let's do it. Finally, guys, finally, I can share something to you. I am on vacation. I am free from study at least for a month or two. God damn it, I feel so free, because I can now sleep. It's so good to sleep. Uh, 8 hours a day. That's so sweet. I know that isn't a thing on out Brazil, okay, in the first world countries. That is the effect of you work and your study. That's most common in Brazil. Of course, the concept it's not that it's not that original, but I watched, I heard some guys who work, who study, who live outside Brazil, and that is I work, all day, all the 8 hours, five times 5 days of work, 2 days of rest, and have the study on the night turn. So I am finally on vacation, from some time, some months. It was okay. I have no issue on being on the university, on the college. I'm enjoying. I am actually almost the half of the college, I'm a little bit, hopeful on Brazil's scenario of future, maybe on my area. I won't reveal it right now. I don't think we are close enough to do it, but I'm happy. I'm happy on being in a next level in the graduation system. I just arrived from a project in our college that is a UN simulation. I was in the organization and it was awesome. It was really, really nice. It's like an RPG, a role-playing game, but without the game, just the role-playing. And it's very nice to when everyone wants to join the role play. I don't think everyone on the room, representing the countries will be diplomats or something like that in the future, but the role play is very good, and it's a really good lobby session, so we can talk to different persons and make friends and make contacts, and of course work. Show the world that you can work. And I worked a lot, so I am so tired. I'm so tired, but that's this. I avoid on this show to talk about news. I try to make it, of course, in its own context. Every program must be heard in maybe a good couple of years and without being uh, dated. But I will make it an exception, because I wouldn't, I would call another topic, but I just saw that Matt Reeves finished up the Batman 2, the Batman sequel, and well, I want to use this week wasn't that good on topics, so I want to just talk out of my mind something that I've been thinking about the DC comics and this stuff. And Matt Reeves finished the Batman 2. It is a shame that the Batman is not part of DCU. You know, the Batman was a completely independent project made by Matt Reeves in the Zack Snyder, you know, regency of the DCU. That was a great shame. What could we've got? You know, imagine a DCU with Robert Pattinson as the Batman and the new Superman, which I don't watch yet because it didn't release yet. That's why I didn't want to talk a lot with news and not speak a lot about future because the program maybe could be dated. But okay, this program can be revealed in the future just for mocking up my face. But I am 100% James Gunn's bitch. I can, you know, I put in Brazil we have, I don't know if is in the real in the whole world, that is, I put my hand on fire. I run into fire. Remember, I run into fire for James Gunn. You know, anytime, any day. These men have a plan. You know, James Gunn have a plan, and I am 100% delivered to James Gunn idea. What I'm talking about it, because July 11th is Superman, uh, great, you know, release on every theater, and I am so excited. I am very excited. It won't be, you know, critical stuff about it for now. It's just hype. I am just really hyped about Superman. I'm really hyped. Includes in the list of the d.i.t.s topics. The only topic that is already, you know, decided from this show, it's d.i.t.s 7. That probably will just be a d.i.t.s for Superman. The tickets already was bought, so in the release date, I will be in the theaters here in Brazil, and I will watch Superman. I am so hyped. I used to talk that if Superman won't be a good movie, you know, it's not a good movie. If I watch Superman and it's not a good movie, I will just jump out of the shopping mall and remain dead. Because there is no fucking chance that Superman, you know, won't be a great movie. I am, I know, I have more hope on Superman than I have hope in myself. If I used half of the hope that I have on Superman, you know, in my stuff, I probably would be a doctor by now. I probably would be a, you know, a judge right now, because I am with so faith on Superman's future, on DCU future, that future, not feature, future, that I am completely, you know, on James Gunn hands. If James Gunn disappoint me, probably won't. I will probably cry because I am so hyped for this movie. Superman is probably my favorite superhero from this DC universe. Uh, that's so virgin to say out loud, but I am hyped, and you guys must understand that. Now for the really serious part about this podcast. You guys already know that I'm reading Republic. Okay, the few ones who watch this podcast. And I am reading Plato's The Republic. And I have some thoughts about it and I want to develop here in this. First of all, it's really incredible how think hurts, make your brain work. It really hurts. I say that because when I read a book, when into a story in a literature way, and I'm reading Isaac Asimov books. Let's say I'm reading I, Robot. It's one of my favorite books. When I'm reading I, Robot, it just flows. Not necessarily because it's Isaac Asimov, which is a fucking great writer. I will note that I want to talk about Asimov when I read another book about from Asimov, another Asimov's book. But when I read a story, a fiction, in this case a sci-fi, science fiction, it just flows. Even if the story is sucks, even if the story sucks, I can read because I can imagine, I can, you know, abstract a lot of stuff. But when you read philosophy, when you need anything but fiction, it's way harder. No, it's way different. I like philosophy. I am not into philosophy as much as I like it. I, I read more, you know, quotes and chapters of the great books, but without read it all. I'm trying to change that and read more the original whole book. When I reach the Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, I will be in great trouble. I think. I don't think I will reach that soon. But the Republic, it's a case. I don't finish it yet. I'm kind of half. Socrates is speaking about women's right. That it's fucking hilarious how these guys was about the woman's right in that way. Because Greek society won't allow the women to vote, but in the Plato's Republic, in Socrates' Republic, she have a great participation, and it's very fun how modern concepts it's already speaking by Socrates. That's why that man was so great. But being serious, I'm in the half, and it's really fun how think hurts. How trying to be smarter hurts, and it's a in a good kind of hurts, not the masochist way, but it's a good kind of hurtiness, because it's a great book. It isn't a philosophy made in the first person. It's a dialogue, so it kind of flows better. I don't know if it's a script maneuver to fool me, and Plato could fool the entire Western world, but I don't think so. Plato, it's hard to explain what I am reading, but while I'm reading, I noticed something that probably a lot of guys would disagree with me, and that's okay. But it's incredible how the kindness, it's a way, how can I say it? The kindness is a feeling, the kindness is a way of life that is worth to live since, 200, 2000 years ago, 2300 years ago. It's funny how it's not funny. I need to stop to say it's funny how, and I need to stop it. But Socrates, and I have this doubt that how I quote the Republic. I know that is a Plato's book, but for God's sake, Socrates lived. Socrates, I know it's not a, I don't need to stop to say, it's not a consensus in the scientific world, but let's pretend, let's pretend that Socrates existed. How I quote this fucking book? I say that Plato's Republic, it's a Socrates Republic because every every script, every idea is from Socrates' mouth, not Plato's mouth. Okay, so I say that Plato's is on, it's the author, because if I say that every ideas built on the Republic is from Plato's, maybe I am assuming that Socrates is a character, but I know that Socrates, the real Socrates, lived. But if I assume that it's a character and it's not that character that I'm seeing, it's fucking confused. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get going. Plato's Republic, it's way about kindness. Before, maybe the Christianism took that kindness from itself. It's that's really funny. That's really interesting. That in one of the Socrates argument with the philosopher's friends, one of they say out loud, there will be a day that a real man, that what's the word, a real kind man, a man who is just a just man, will be confused as a true man. I'm sorry, that a true man will be confused as a false man and will be hanged on a cross. That's in the Republic 300 years before, after, I'm sorry, 300 years after, before, after, I'm sorry, 300 years before, Christianism, before Christ himself. And nuts. That's nuts how every thought, every concept in the fucking Bible was written before Bible, and you can match almost exactly. But let, let's let's get back on the concept. Being kind, it's one of the main pillars of Socrates, of Plato, and it always was a thing that I always tried to be a good man, a kind man, but never know why. I always, attached to the Christian family that I lived, the Protestant family that I live. I already told about this, and I'm really proud of my creation by my mom. But I never had the basic. I never had, the foundation of what that will become. The foundation. Let's say that your virtues, your purpose, your ideas is a house. I never had a foundation. So I always want to have a house of a good man, but I never had what kindness is, what being good it is. And of course, I study a little bit of one side here, one side there, and in the church and in school on some point, but I never had that foundation, the real foundation, the ideas built from arguments, from logic. And in the Plato's Republic, you see how Socrates built his thoughts and how being kind, being brave, being what is the word? Being wise is the best way, because these three ways makes justice. And be a true man, be a kind man is the result of life, of live good. That's one of the best arguments that of course I'm discovering republic after 2300 years, but I don't care. It's That's one of the best arguments that I had, that I read, that is as long, just the same way that a doctor, that a good doctor is good on his work, a good man is good on living, because being kind, brave, and wise is live good. And don't matter how people will judge you, because you don't make this for the other people, you make this because the right thing. And the way that Socrates and Plato talked about this, it's just amazing. And then they start the Sim City and start to build a city, and talked about a lot of other aspects on, hospitals and how society will work, how the defenders of a state, of this republic, will will be built, how these defenders will be in the dance, in the music, in the education. It's very good if you like politics, understand some concept about politics. I was reading the one technical book about nuclearity, some nuclear weapons and nuclear nuclear energy and this stuff. And I saw a concept of braveness, of courage. I'm sorry, of courage. And I used when I use when I stop it and I start to think, if I use the common concept of courage, this won't work. This document won't work. But if I use Socrates' concept of courage, it works. It works perfectly, because the fucking West way of think is based on these motherfuckers. And that's amazing. And that's amazing. And discovers this, and the it's like I have no brain. I had no brain a week, 2 weeks ago, and now I'm developing one. I need to understand that my brain is still, small, and I'm dumb as fuck. Of course, I always must think like that. But it's great how being kind is a good thing, and had the foundation of being a good man, it's finally worth in it. And if it's not worth, it's not about kindness, it's about other stuff. it's a project where I try to bring some something of my life into it. You know, I always try to bring book on the table. I always trying to be movies on the table and stories and those kind of shit. But I avoid to speak about my personal life. Not because I want to hide myself, it's just because I don't think it's that interesting. You know, you guys already know something about me and probably will know more and more with the program goes on. But I always try to avoid being too much personal. Because if I want to make something personal, I just write a journal. I start a diary, you know, a journal, and that's it. And when I die, maybe my granddaughter, my grandson, or my son take that, and oh my god, grandpa was so sick. But this time I want to do something different. I want to talk about a thesis that I built, and as a employee of a company who needs to be able to serve the customer. I have so much to say on these years that I've been working, because it's unbelievable how the customer is a fucking dumb beast. Because if you are a burger flipper, you know, on McDonald's, and there is McDonald's in all over the world, and if you are a server in McDonald's, okay, you will soon understand that the customer is dumb. The customer is stupid. But in that case, everyone goes to McDonald's. The rich guy, the poor guy, the hobo, everyone steps in McDonald's. These days, McDonald's is kind of it's kind of expensive here in Brazil. What the fuck? Let's imagine I will pretend that my audience is it's a little bit out of Brazil, but let's pretend you earn you make let's say $1,300 a month. Burger in Brazil is 40 pounds, $40, 40 reais. What the fuck? 40 reais for a warm burger. That's a shame. That's a fucking shame. But okay. In the McDonald's steps the poor guy, the medium guy, the richest guy, the billionaire. That's fucked up. That's what makes us different than the old days, that the classic era. The billionaire guy steps in a McDonald's and take a Burger King. Oh fuck! Steps in a McDonald's and take a Big Mac, just like me, a fucking broke guy. And that's it. If you serve in McDonald's, if you serve to the customer in McDonald's, you know how the client is dumb as fuck. But imagine that you work in a city, a metropolis, and you are in a place, you serve a project that usually can be used by poor people, but there is this same place in the poor cities area. I'm poor, I'm broke, but I don't work in a broke notary house. I work in the best notary house here in Brasilia. And just like that, the rich public, the politics, the lawyers, the judges, always, all of these audience, all of these customers are dumb as fuck. The same way, the same mistakes that, a how can I say, a builder, a guy who never go to a fucking class. And I'm not, you know, disrespecting this. I'm just saying, if you, there is some jobs, there is some lives that it's less polite than others. I'm not disrespecting, but I'm saying these guys, this builder guy, these guys who are poor in Brazil, cannot live with prosperity, cannot live with dignity. These people, when they are dumb, when they made a mistake, that's okay. That's okay. I won't judge. I'm not a monster. But when a fucking lawyer can't read a sign who says, we don't use passwords, just get in line. It's simple as that in my job. There is a sign that says, just get in line. And the fucking lawyer who read all the Brazilian constitution, the fucking lawyer who made a test to be a lawyer, a test in 2 fucking weekends, one after other, a lawyer who needs to make a fucking letter to the organization of the lawyers. This guy can look up and read a sign, and there is more than one sign, and just can't read and come to my area that I am a specialized area, and my area who mainly don't serve usually customers. The customers who I serve go for me, in a special way. But this guy comes to my area. How I get served here? How these work? And I need to breathe in, breathe out. Sir, there is a sign over there. Just go in line. Someone will call you. And that's it. Every single day, I'm confused by a cashier. Every day, someone confirmed, not just me, my co-workers who indeed are cashiers. The fucking customer steps in and this is a cashier, and look up, there's a cashier with a sign, with a arrow, with an arrow. It's kinda dumb. An arrow. And every day the same bullshit. Every day. I have these theses, I have this, this idea that if you, don't matter if you are me, who is the guy who is bullshitting around this, if you are Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you're Albert Einstein, at the moment that you step in a place and you are a customer, you are an idiot. You are dumb. Because even me, that hate this non-reading people, I'm dumb. When I come to a bank and I need to be served, I ask to the security guy, the security guard, how this works. And when I snaps in my mind, there's signs everywhere. There's arrows everywhere. Every arrow with a different color who guides me to different places. And when I need there's a sign that explains everything. And the one who make these complainings, who are bullshitting, talking, a lot of bullshit for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, I am dumb. And you the one who's listening to me, you are dumb as fuck as the moment that you became a customer. The customer is dumb. to the, let's say that you will be customer for 30 minutes. You are in this organization, the governmental or something public, and you are 30 minutes a customer. In these all 30 minutes, at least, if you don't consume that service daily, weekly, or with some, with some constance, you will be dumb. Because that's how we are. That's how we work. We are dumb, and we always be dumb if we are customers. Okay, I think the rant is over. It's incredible how I speak so much on this episode, and I still feel that is not enough to fill an episode and its own. But it's just I am now. I have time to make this, and I will finish the show, the program, this episode on here. But I have some words. I have some ideas that I want to share here. I think in this vacation maybe the frequency of dates maybe will change on the purpose to make more frequent. Okay, I know that that's not the best quality that you can. I can be better. I can make better quality, but even in vacation of the college, I still don't have the time for sharpen it all. But probably I'll try to introduce a new episode in the middle of the week. Okay, that's usually is released on Sunday afternoon, at maximum at Monday. Probably it's because I record it usually along the week or on Saturday. But that's just a message, probably that will be dated soon and not be important. But that's it. That's it. Thank you guys who listening to it all for that long time. I am so excited for make this real, for make this become something. I am proud of myself, and I see you next week or a few days ahead. I will try to be better. And thank you. Remember, subscribe at the YouTube channel. Follow me. Follow this on on Instagram. Is just search Deep in the Shallow. There is here on the description if you're on YouTube or in Spotify. And share with a friend. That's really important. This is it became something that you listen a while. So share with your friends if you can, if you think that will your friends will enjoy friend, that weird friend, if he will enjoy. And thank you and have a great week.